Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. It is Thursday, July 4th. Happy America Independence Day. I see lots of rhetoric going around. Actually, I posted in the lounge this morning a very controversial cartoon that seems to be going viral on Twitter. But ironically enough, the guy works for a newspaper company that has a lot of business in the U.S., and he was promptly fired. So go figure. I mean, we're living in a very corporate world. The capitalists won the Cold War, so don't fuck with business. If you do, you might just lose your job. Anyway, good morning, everybody. And I understand we have a fairly light crew here today. Considering it is a holiday, I noticed, of course, the American markets are closed. I think the futures are trading, but very muted response. You can see stocks are up just a tad. Bonds, the bond futures are trading. So I also noticed I like to keep a close eye, of course, on yen gold. And I see yen's down just a smidge, an overnight trade, and gold is down just a smidge, an overnight trade. This is Thursday, so keep in mind that Brian's driving the bus. The mayor is still away. So my apologies if I don't get all the jobs done. I forgot to post the daily brief on the site until later on yesterday afternoon. But you can always scroll through the lounge and find the video if you don't find it in the dashboards, just because Brian, I was a little bit overwhelmed there yesterday with the daily brief, then the summary, then I had to go straight into class and teach class till about 1 or 2 o'clock. So with that said, try our best here. We do have Julian tentatively scheduled for Thursdays. It is his day, the baby powder report. He is still having issues with browsers and his computer slowing down when he joins the Hangout. So I don't know whether we're going to get a Julian report today, but we'll see how it goes. Keep our fingers crossed. He has rejoined the Hangout, so I'm not quite sure if he has a microphone or not. But if he does get connected and can give us a report, then I'm sure he will chime in. Yeah, I see you taking your microphone on and off mute, but not hearing anything from you. Are you guys hearing anything? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. No, you aren't. Yeah. So none of us can hear you, Julian. So be aware of that. Ilja says, "I hear." All right, but very low. Oh, okay. All right, well, we'll just sort of play it by ear. Today might be a shorter session. We'll see. Oh, there he goes. Something worked. Yeah, well, something worked.
Hello?
Hello.
Test.
Hello. You can see this is one of these high quality broadcasts.
Hello? Can everyone hear us? Anyone hear me?
Everybody can hear me. The question is, are you connected?
Okay, so everyone says they can hear me except you.
I can hear you now. I've been saying hello back and forth.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, you're back. Can you screen share?
Yes, but okay, 1 second. Trying. It seems to slow down when I screen share, but let's try it.
All right, we see a chart. Always nice to see charts.
Yeah. So I have S&P. Yeah. So I have the S&P chart. I guess we can just go over the S&P quickly.
Well, maybe take 2 or 3 minutes and just sort of write down what it is you want to do. And then so we're not just sort of, loading charts and then seeing things freeze and stuff. You know, while you're sort of getting all your ducks in a line, just give me a heads up when you're ready to go. I'll just
Okay.
do a quick overview of what I'm seeing here in the market.
Okay.
So while Julian's getting his all his charts rocking and rolling, I'll just do a quick overview. As we sort of talked about in recent broadcasts, I'm kind of feeling like stock market's getting ready for fake rippy uppy. Had just a monster day in stocks like KPTI. Just a massive rally out of the gate. Really, really good anecdote of just simply buying your weekly W's and just letting your money work for you. Also, you know, Americans making peace with the Chinese. Some of the little Chinese proxies. This is the little Tesla proxy. It's taken off. I noticed a bunch of Chinese stocks jumping up here. I have to warn everybody, be careful about this. We actually reviewed this name for our TRISOF meeting. It's got 1 billion shares out. So this ain't for the faint of heart at all. So, you know, like Zach and my little plan, we put this idea on the back burner. But nonetheless, cute little name. What, you know, we're in the money nicely here now, so I'm just going to let it work. You know, you can see where 50% rolls are. I think there's still a little ways to go there. And probably our best sort of stock market proxy for crypto at the moment seems to be this Overstock, sort of a medium-sized company. So making higher highs and higher lows, always a good sign. And it looks to me like this might be actually a pretty good example of a cute little flag. Which suggests a better part of $20. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic about that. And then, as I sort of mentioned earlier, you know, just a great anecdote. Maybe throw yourself on mute, Julian, until you're sort of ready to present. Great anecdote of sort of what the market does when the Americans are officially on holiday. Here is the, you know, here's the TSX website. And you can see it's basically ground to a halt. We're down 10 points. The venture exchange is up 7/100ths of a point. Basically a non-event day. I was also reading on the rags that basically European markets have basically come to a full stop. I was reading in here, you know, stuff going on with the Brexit voting of new politicians and stuff. But as I think I was going through here, I saw articles basically saying that the UK market is just basically, here we are, 4th of July slams the brakes on London market. So quiet session, just, you know, a really good anecdote of the importance, the significance the Americans play in the capital markets. I mean, to all intents and purposes, it's a non-event day for non-U.S. Stocks. You know, quickly popping over to the corn. I actually published this chart yesterday. It feels to me like we're stuck in a trading range. Top of the range seems to be about 13,000. Bottom of the range, 13,888 here on Stamp. Bottom of the range, 96.14. I just put out a tweet to the effect that Mountain Man stopped the rally to the upside, 38.2s, and big fat round numbers, $10,000, stopped the slide to the downside. And for the time being, I believe that we're stuck in this trading range. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. And I made a comment basically saying that it looks like we're going through the process of eating some of this wick up top. And you can see they left a pretty noticeable tail down below. So, you know, somebody was asking me, well, Brian, you know, do you have any bias? Do you have any positions or, you know, anything? And I'm just like, I have to let this consolidate and resolve itself before I start thinking about new positions. You could make the argument we're doing nothing more than just testing the top end of the range right now. Internally, momentum divergences that I was worried about, not really developing just as of yet. If this week finishes relatively strong, then I don't see any divs coming in here at all. Volume, no breakdowns per se, but the bears did wake up there last on that big doji shooting star candle. So we should acknowledge that, yes, the bulls are awake and we have to be cognizant and watch for the bulls falling asleep. The bears were completely asleep. But I think to a certain degree, they woke up here on that Mountain Man level tag. And I actually thought it was interesting. On the weekly basis, we're not actually technically stupid yet. So some simple conclusions, trending higher, lower time frames within a higher time frame range. No divergences confirmed in either price or volume momentum. Move to new relative highs and subsequent pullback have established a short-term trading range. I think on balance, that's basically what I'm seeing here. For those that are more sort of short-term oriented, of course, we were watching algos very closely. I'm still on the fence as to whether I really want to take algo signals that don't line up with bots. I just find that when algos and bots agree, holy crap, what a trade. But algos all went uber bull here overnight. And it was interesting on that event, just sort of watching. I need to have some sort of trading range to work with on that uber bull event. Everything just paused. So as long as we stay uber bull, if we actually now head up and break out through the top, then that becomes structure that I can work with. And hopefully everybody can see basically buy the breakout, risk against these lows. It's interesting to see that, like OKCoin, for example, it's losing its uberness. And if it loses its uberness, then I don't care if the market breaks out through the top, the signal goes away from me. And so this morning, and I was very curious to see how she was going to act through that New York kill zone. Basically, I saw the market rally up into, and it's really cool because we had this trend line going back forever here. Check this out. This trend line goes all the way back, way back, going. The ball game's over. Sorry, get all excited. Crazy Brian. This trend line goes back like quite a ways. Such a cool trend line. So this trend line that we're playing with right now actually started off of this market structure bottom back here. And if we go down to like 4 hour, there is that trend line. Boobity boo. There to there to there. It was respected on the way up. Then on the move above, you can see how it was respected on the way down. And so we're basically just flirting with that trend line right now. Really important level, it seems to me.
Yeah, that is an interesting trend line level. I think I actually have that on my chart too.
Could be. So we came up into that level there, and then you can see the battle that's going on here right now. Let me just finish my rant here, Julian, then we'll turn you loose. So off of the, I drilled this down, this is basically this 4 hour range that I was following there. I drilled it down and I just simply asked, okay, so if we do take that algo signal, what's the trade going to look like? And I think it's basically a breakout through the top, risk against these lows, or about a 5% risk. So I went and did the math on OKCoin at 10x leverage. That's basically 50% of your capital. So we have a Bitcoin there. If I'm going to throw like risk 1% on these trades, that means I could strap on 25 contracts. We break these lows. I lose half of 25 contracts would be 0.02 BTC. And if we break these lows, then I lose half that equity, or 1% of the capital. So I've got that all lined up. And if this signal had fired, I think I was basically ready, willing, and able to take it. But you can see algo's already starting to back off from uber bull. And we actually, if we look at like, say, the 10-minute, which is what I was watching this morning, I think it was interesting. It makes sense why the algo, like the hourlies, are starting to get heavy again. That's probably why they broke down, because we just M'd out right on that trend line. Okay, so that's basically what I'm seeing right now. With this lower time frame failure here, I don't think there's a huge hurry. If we look at the internals, divs confirmed on that failure. Willie was stupid, and the Bulls not really too present. This thing's got to do some cleaning up here before I think this thing can really ramp up. But we'll see. Only time will tell. Maybe by the time I'm done, this thing goes and breaks out to the upside. Okay, so that's sort of my rant for this morning. So you can see if we do blast off through the top, I'll go and strap on those 25 contracts, risking breakout through the top and risking against these lows. And the 2-to-1 will basically be looking on these OKCoin forwards for a tag of about 13,500. Okay, I'm done. Mr. Julian, you have the floor. Tell us what's on your mind today.
Okay, so first of all, I switched to only one monitor. I think 2 monitors was the issue a little bit. So we're gonna test that, but it seems to be doing okay. So do you want me to jump into my opinion on Bitcoin since you're talking about it, or
whatever is on your mind? You've got the floor. You've got the audience.
All right, let's do crypto first, just because that's what you were talking about. So I'll go through my thoughts on what's going on with Bitcoin, and then I'll talk maybe about like Neo or any other coin people want to ask about really quick, and then we can jump into the stock market. Okay, so Bitcoin on the weekly for me, it's still in a bull. I don't have any divergence or anything. So that's my weekly long-term trend opinion. I think it's still a bull. If I go to the daily, it doesn't look as pretty. And it actually looks like our bull trend has broken down. If I draw a nice little ray here, like this, kind of like even if I do that one or I do this one, either way, it's a breakdown. So it would more so like this. But we have a bit of a, well, it's not a divergence, but it looks like we have a bit of a W possibly forming here on the RSI. It'd have to come all the way up here to confirm, which is insanely high. But you can see how it's higher here on the RSI and higher here on the histogram. I don't have a trade here. I don't have a good trade on the daily chart at all. I'm just gonna stick with the weekly and say, okay, it's still in a bull trend, and then look at let's go to the 4-hour time frame to see if we can see anything. So on the 4-hour, I had a breakout here, which gave us this price move higher from right off the 50% level. And this range is drawn all the way down. Let's go to a full screen here. All the way down to the lows down here. These lows, I believe I drew them to these lows. Where is it? No, I drew this off the full range. So it's interesting. We dropped literally to the 50% of the entire range of Bitcoin, which is 9,700, according to my fib levels. You might have slightly different ones on your chart, but according to mine, we dropped to the 50% level, and then we bounced, which makes sense to me. Now, what I'm seeing here is that on this 4-hour, we should have kept rallying rather than stopped here. We should have broke out higher, but we didn't, and it broke through this uptrend, and now it's kind of just sitting. We do have this MACD uptrend, MACD histogram uptrend intact still. I like what I'm seeing here. I don't like what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. We are close to support on my Keltner channel here, and we also tagged the 0.618. So there's a lot of things going on here, but for me, no really clear signals. If I wanted to trade here, the only thing I would do is I would set a buy at like, if I wanted to trade on something like the 4-hour, I would set a buy at like 11,650 or something in the low area. And I would set my stop right here at the Keltner channel support, 11,450. That's all I would be able to do from a trading perspective. I'm just saying this for people that really want to be in a trade, but I suggest you create a trading plan and follow your trading plan. For me, with my plan, I don't have a trade right now. There's too many confusing and conflicting signals. I need to see the RSI do something on the 4-hour chart. I don't like to trade on anything lower because the signals, even the signals on the 4-hour chart, can be confusing, and they can cause you to make mistakes. Where the daily will say for example, the daily looks bullish, but then the 4 hour broke down like this, and then it caused you think, okay, well the price is going to go down now, and you short it here, but then it recovers and then goes higher. And on the daily, you never got that bearish signal, only on the 4 hour. So I don't really, I like to look at the 4 hour for potential signals, but I don't really like to take trades off it. And since I don't have any good signals on the daily, I would say we're kind of in no man's land in Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. I do like that we have this support here. I'm not surprised we stopped at the 0.618. We could be in a range. We might be ping ponging for a little while. That's my opinion on Bitcoin. I don't really own any right now. I sold most of it back here in the 12,000 to, well, we sold a bunch at like 13,000 or something. Brian, do you remember what level we sold it at? 13 what?
Well, that was your call. I don't have the specific level.
I don't even remember at this point. I think it was around 13. So we sold a bunch at 13, and then I sold the rest of mine at around 12,150. And I'm just waiting at this point. I don't like that the daily trend broke down. That scared me. I want to see the daily and weekly trends align. And until those align, I don't know if I'm going to have any clear good trade signals. I'd have to drill down to like the 1 hour chart maybe to get a good signal. And even then, I don't really trust 1 hour charts. I've been burned before on them. But to me, this looks like a range between 9,700 and 11,900 or so. It looks like it could ping pong there. So that's kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin. Does anyone have any? Let me check the Hangout. Does anyone have any questions on any other crypto coins?
No.
Nope, no other crypto. ETH. Okay, we can look at ETH.
Not quite sure why we're showing you the heads. You are presenting to everybody. I don't know why the heads are.
You're showing. There's an issue with the heads.
No, it's YouTube. It keeps going back and forth, but I think we're okay.
Okay, so ETH weekly, same as Bitcoin, bull trend intact, no problems here. If I go to the daily, it looks, if we do here, ETH actually looks better than Bitcoin. I mean, we have this one obviously breakdown, but if I go off this low, it looks better. It doesn't look that bad. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I like how ETH looks. I would feel better about being long ETH than I would about being long Bitcoin, based on what I'm seeing on this chart. Let's go to the 4 hour really quick. Ooh. Okay, so trend line here, breakdown, trend line here, breakout. Let me see here. Huh, not bad. I like ETH better than Bitcoin. If I had a retrace, if there was much of I would want to see some kind of like retracement down to these lows, and then a move higher from there. I like that it's sitting like this here. I'm still not 100% sold because of I don't like what I'm seeing in Bitcoin. So that affects all of crypto, but ETH does look better. It looks better. I think I would want to see a move down, and I would want to get a fill in this area, this whole support area, if I was going to go long. And then I would set like a tight stop, maybe somewhere below this one, maybe here, because you can see how they ran the stops here. You don't want to get screwed over by that, so maybe go a little bit lower. Maybe something like this. If I draw this really quick, you could do a trade like maybe open it here and shoot for, you can even go for the highs here and then have your stop right here. So it's still a 4.75 risk to reward. Not a bad little trade. just risk to the, take profit at the highs, have your stop loss right below this stop run here. I like it. It's not a bad trade. What else can I say about this? That's about it. Let me see if there's anybody ask anything else. Symbol DCR. Okay, LTC. I'll look at DCR. Does DCR, I only like to look at things in US dollar. I don't, obviously, if you're looking at coins, and we've talked about this before, if you look at coins in Bitcoin and Bitcoin's going down, of course those coins are going to look like they're going up because they're priced in the asset that's going down. I prefer to look at it in US dollars because I think most of us transfer Bitcoin to US dollars to spend it. And until Bitcoin can be universally accepted everywhere, and it's more stable, I don't really like looking at it versus an altcoin. I'd rather look at the US dollar. So that's why I always try to look at these charts, and I'm glad that TradingView converts it for us. Okay, so let's go to the weekly. I don't know how long this coin's been around for. Decreed. Okay, so you can see downtrend here, breakout, move higher. Still bullish. We've actually got two. You got this one here, and then you got another one here, both still bullish. Daily. Interesting, another daily. This one. So you've got this, and it looks again similar to Bitcoin, where it looks like it's breaking down on the daily. It doesn't look terrible, but it's not, at least on the RSI, it's not a clear signal. But if you notice, the histogram for ETH, Bitcoin, and Decreed all look the same. It looks the same. They all have this, lower high here. So you've got this low here, and then you've got a lower high here, which could signal a higher move coming. But I don't like what I'm seeing on the daily from the RSI perspective. I do like that it's riding. It seems to ride the Keltner channel. Isn't it? Look how it does that. It's interesting. And it, sometimes you get some stop loss moves down to the 50% level of the Keltner channel. Let's go to the 4 hour really quick. So this one is interesting. You can see if you waited for the breakout here, you could get in on the long right above the Keltner channel, and then you could have sold it at the top of the Keltner channel. It's a nice little trading range that the Keltner channel creates sometimes for us. You can see it did it here too. Comes back down, up, down, inside the Keltner channel. Till finally break out above the Keltner channel, move back down into it, retrace to the 50%, go up again, retrace to the bottom. It really seems to like to stay within that Keltner channel. Do I have a trade here? What is that? Is someone? What's going on? Someone like building something?
No, that's coming from your side.
No, Jonas has his microphone on. Okay, I turned it off. I muted him. I don't like that there is a breakdown here on the RSI. So for me, we have a weekly uptrend. We have a daily that's slightly bearish, and then we have a 4 hour that's starting to become bearish. I don't have a trade. If you're long from like down here, I think it's fine if you want to hold. If you're thinking about getting in here, I wouldn't personally myself. It's too many conflicting signals. I would wait for things to kind of clean themselves up. Maybe get some kind of clear W on the RSI here. Maybe something like down and then maybe a move higher. That would be something I would want to see before I could take a long here. Let me check what you guys are saying in the Hangout. There's RSI. Thanks for checking, Decreed. You're welcome. Is RSI a leading indicator for you? No, it's not. It depends on where I enter the trade based on the RSI. Like if I enter it here at the bottom of the W before the W is confirmed, I find it does get me into the trade sooner, but there's more risk. That's why you have to set the tight stops that I talk about. I think that's enough on crypto. I'm gonna jump over to the stock market. Just gonna close this one actually. Okay, let's talk about the S&P. On the weekly, I love starting at the weekly just to see the trend, and then moving down to the daily and the 4-hour. If you guys want to see something different, just let me know and I'll change it up. Or if I'm going too fast and you want me to slow down, just let me know. For the weekly on the S&P, I want to let's redraw these in real time here, really quick. Okay, they had. Let's get a ray. I want a ray. You had something like this, and that was your downtrend, which we broke out of here. And you can see, we moved higher, came back down to that breakout level basically, and then we went higher here. What I don't like is that if we don't break out higher here, we could potentially put in an M divergence. Look at the histogram. It should be much higher than this if we're breaking out like this, and yet it's not. There's not much volume. I don't honestly like what I'm seeing. I want to see this develop. We'll have to see the next week's candle, but right now I'm not like crazy bullish on the stock market. But we can look at the daily. I'm just looking at the weekly from a higher time frame. The weekly is definitely in a bull trend at this point. I'm just saying be cautious. It's not like rah crazy bull trend, but it's definitely in the bulls court right now versus the bears from a weekly perspective. Let's go to the daily. Okay, so here, let me adjust this. So we have this here, breakdown level, breakout, and then we had this retracement, which gives us we can draw our trend line now. Now this move here really surprised me. I originally had drawn something like this, and I thought that we'd broken down here. And then I also looked at the options report, and this options report hasn't really changed all week. Look at how many puts we have at 297, 299, 296. Anytime in the past I've seen this, usually it means the market's not going to go above this 296 level. It means normally we're going to go back this way. Wherever there's more open interest, the market's going to go in the opposite direction. So I don't know exactly what significant event happened this week. Brian, were you saying that there was a big resolution with China or something?
Well, tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m., we have the big jobs report. So you could very easily find the stock market's down 500 points tomorrow.
that could happen. Okay, so there's a big jobs report tomorrow. Yeah, it's the first of the month, right? So non-farm payroll report.
Yeah, the June jobs report.
Yeah, they always come out the first Friday.
They often like to bid markets up into holiday weekends. So, looking at that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Mr. Trump wanted that to happen. For sure.
Yeah, like isn't he having a big parade today?
Oh yeah, it's the greatest parade ever in the history of the US.
Right. So, it's all feel good, lovey-dovey, wrap your arms around it. But I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow. I mean, there's no guarantees for management. But I would not be surprised tomorrow if actually they politely move the market down and close it below like 296-ish or so. On the ES chart, you can see, on the SPY chart, what's scary about this is all open air. I mean, there's just gaps everywhere. So, the problem here is that this is not sustainable over time, in my opinion. So don't be surprised, if that jobs report is ugly tomorrow, gee whiz, the market comes down and settles right comfortably underneath where all those puts are. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And ironically enough, this is almost the damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if the jobs report's really strong, then that means that the Fed won't cut rates. So Wall Street
they could bring the market down either way. They could spin the story either way to move the market down.
You're right. So jobs report's really strong. Fed's not going to cut rates. Boo, stock market sells off. Jobs report's really weak. Oh, the economy's rolling over. Oh, growth is terrible. The Fed's behind the curve. Yeah, the Fed's going to have to panic cut rates. And we're all heading off a cliff together. You know? And they bring the market down. You know, in a weird sort of way.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of, and you know, guys, this is a really good point. It's a perfect example, and something I've talked about in the past, of how often the news comes out to justify what the technicals are telling us and what the market ends up doing. And normally, what the market ends up doing has nothing to do with the news. It's just whoever has the most money to push the market around is going to push it in the direction that makes them the most money. And then possibly
the news station. Oh boy. Well, we haven't heard one of those microphone blowouts in a while. Obviously, Big Brother didn't like you saying that. Just an FYI, anybody who's watching this, Julian has some challenges with his computer every once in a while with regard to microphones. So our apologies for the earbuds. But I don't know. You want to try your mic now? Let's see if it's going to cooperate.
Okay.
There you go. You're back.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. That hasn't happened in months.
Yeah.
I stopped using I used to call in on my phone, and I stopped doing that because we didn't seem to have any issues. So I apologize for that. But yeah, it's a really good point. I'm not going to say anything else because maybe my mic will go nuke again.
Somebody's listening.
Somebody's listening.
Get this guy off. If he mentions shorting Google, blast his microphone.
Yeah. So anyway, I had 2 trades on this week that I got. I put them on up here. They were shorts, option type shorts. I expected the market to be around 292 at the end of the week. So I'm hurting a bit here. I didn't expect this rally to happen. I'm incredibly surprised it happened considering the options. But at the same time, I mean, the 4-hour did break out higher. And then, this is where I shorted here. I had my shorts here. But it decided to recover and go higher. And that's why I was like, I wonder what happened here that caused this move. It must be 4th of July. I completely forgot about that. This is very good for.
There was the G20 event, right? Whereas that was last weekend, right?
That was last week. I put this trade on Tuesday.
I think on Tuesday the 2nd, you put that trade on.
Wait.
That's a 4-hour chart.
Yeah, on the 2nd. Yeah, here.
Oh, right there. That's the 2nd. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you took a shot shorting against the highs. Unfortunately, it didn't work.
Well, we'll see if we get a retracement tomorrow. If we can even come down to like 295, I'm basically at break even. So we'll see. And there's this big gap here. I would love if we could fill this gap tomorrow. Like, oh no, horrible jobs report. The world's going to end. Go down to 293. Be perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, that's as long as you're following your plan, I guess that's all that matters, and make sure you take appropriate risks.
Yeah.
The good part about your spread trades is they're not too big a potential risk, are they?
No, it's like less than 1% of my portfolio for each one. Good. So even if they go to 0, it's not a big deal. They're kind of like, they're almost like your little old lady trades where it's such a small amount that if it goes to 0, oh well, or it doubles, awesome. So they either double or triple or they go to 0.
That's not bad. Are you finding that you're up in that 60-70% win rate?
I would say, yeah, 60 to 70%.
Okay, well, that's all that matters.
According to my back test, they're 80%. That's back test.
But it's weird how when you forward test in real time, things don't always work the same.
No, they don't. It's so strange. I don't know why it's like that.
All right.
Very annoying.
Any stocks you're interested in? Do we want to
Yes,
talk about Beyond Meat?
Beyond Meat. You know, I love talking about plant-based meat.
All right.
We can't go to anything below
Now
or
I
higher.
heard, believe it or not, they're actually coming out with plant-based fish.
They have to come out with that. I thought they already made fish
I
out of
thought
like
fish was
soy.
politically correct. Oh well, crazy world we live in.
I thought they already made fish products out of like soy or something. Like everything is made out of soy.
Well, yeah, and I suppose like that's the irony of it all with Trump and China trade wars and all that stuff is that the Chinese buy a lot of U.S. soybeans. So you know, you gotta protect that market.
Big time.
So you know, I mean, I just find it amusing that they now have fish-based non-meat products, which I find hilarious. But oh well. Where's that? We used to have a member on the site, Axel, who was, I think, I don't know whether vegan's the right word or not, but literally do not eat anything that's any sort of meat-based, even fish. So I suppose that speaks to him. But anyway, so what's your what do you see on Beyond Meat?
I see that at some point it's got to fill this gap. It has to. Sorry guys for yawning. It has to fill this gap because I don't know. I just don't see how it can't. It's a massive gap from 100 to 122. It's just big open air. For this to be a strong, you know, well structured stock, it has to fill that. I honestly think it's just sitting in this range to destroy options. You know, anyone that bought options in the last 2 weeks, which I guarantee is a lot of people, they've been destroyed. Absolutely destroyed.
Well, we could probably figure out where the floor is if we look at the put open interest.
What date? We can look at it right now.
Yeah, you got that cool little site that you like to look at. Just
it makes it easy.
Plunk in Beyond Meat. Let's see what it's.
Yeah, what date?
Well, just you know, what's tomorrow's expiry, right? Yeah. You know, usually you want to follow the big monthly, but yeah, you can see it looks like 160. So they probably 160, 165, all up in that area there on the calls. And then looks like 145 and 150 in the puts, eh?
Yep.
So and where is it right now? I think it's sitting right about there, eh? 151. Yeah, so she's parked. Basically.
Yeah, and then when we get our crappy non-farm payroll tomorrow, it can drop a whole 1.5%, and it'll be right at 150.
Yeah, my hunch is that probably, you know, like you said, they might even manufacture some sort of report to try and keep this thing parked in that area. Like now they're getting into fish, right? Next thing you know, they're going to do plant-based insect products because we're not allowed to touch the insects.
You can see next month at the midpoint. I think this is the mid-month option, 816. Or is it 823? No, it's definitely 816.
Third Friday.
Yeah. So is it?
Oh wow! So they got a pretty big window there to bring it down into August. Eh?
Pretty big wall here, you know, at 100. So it's going to stop there for sure. It makes sense that the puts are there. What did somebody say something?
Colleen's just making jokes in the lounge. Sorry. All right. So, are you actually doing anything on this, or are you just?
I don't have anything. I want to take a butterfly spread trade here.
Ooh.
I put it like right around 100, or maybe like 110. Like maybe a spread from like 90 to 110 and then 110 to 130. So as long as it's below 120 and above 90, I'll make money in like a month. But I don't know if that's enough time. I might do 2 months. I'm waiting for a signal. I don't have any clear signals yet. It's just kind of sitting in a range. So I don't know what I want to do. I want to see it like maybe rally up here, and then I'll consider putting my butterfly trade on. I'm gonna give it a little more time. I think it needs more time to play out. So we'll see what happens. I don't have any clear like super clear signals yet.
All right, so just to clarify for everybody, when Julian talks about butterflies, you're going to do a long butterfly spread?
There's not really like a long or a short butterfly spread. It's kind of just, bless you. It's kind of just a butterfly, bless you. It's just a butterfly spread. Oh, wow.
All right, so according to our cheat sheets, we do long butterflies. May be entered advantageously in long-term options series. Enter when with 1 month or more to go. Cost spread is 10% or less of B minus A. This is a rule of thumb. Check theoretical values. Maximum profit occurs if market. Hopefully everybody can see my screen here. And you can find this cheat sheet in the library under our cheat sheets, option spreads. So not a bad idea to have this cheat sheet handy so that when Julian does come on and he talks about specific option strategies, at least you can get like a nice little cheat sheet that describes what it is he's thinking.
Yeah. Basically, I would use it simply because I don't have to worry about time decay. Mm-hmm. It can sit for three weeks, and I won't lose any money to time decay like with a normal option.
That's in fact, it even says here, decay characteristics. Decay negligible until final month, during which a distinctive pattern of butterfly forms.
Yay! So you guys can see I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So they do have a short butterfly spread, so I'm not quite sure, like I said, whether you are
the only reason you'd want to do short versus long is like a put instead of a call is because I don't know if some of you probably remember the show from a couple of weeks ago where I explained I ran into quite the issue. Generally, if you expect it to go down, you should do a put. You should do puts, and if you expect it to go up, you should do calls for creating the butterfly. But I always do what's considered a long butterfly spread. I think a short spread. Can you show it? Can you go to the short one? Is there a short one?
Yeah, it's right up here.
Yeah.
Short butterfly.
It's when you expect the market to be on one side or the other of that midpoint. So if it goes up a lot from the midpoint, you'll make money. If it goes down a lot, you'll make money. But you'll lose money if it ends up at the midpoint. But you always can make a much higher profit when you're at the midpoint rather than betting on one or the other side. You can see that the profit is capped.
Well, it says maximum loss occurs if the market is at B at expiry.
Yes, the midpoint.
And that's the short. But it says maximum loss in either direction is the cost of the spread. Very conservative trade for the long butterfly.
A very conservative
I think
trade.
I would agree with you. Being long this butterfly is a lot less risky than short. So.
Yeah, I don't like shorting any kind of options, even getting any kind of credit spread where I'm being given a credit I don't like. It seems like a great deal at first until the trade goes against you and you're down $2,000 when you only received like $200 for the trade.
Yeah.
Oh God, I learned that the hard way.
All our level 3ers right now are going through learning the vulgarities of options, and they they got a real big dose of don't be short options. It's not worth it. It's and the worst part about it is that it's very addictive in the short term.
Oh, very addictive.
Because you collect all this premium and like, geez, look at my account going up, but all it takes is one bad trade and you can literally blow up your account.
And that's normally what happens. Yeah, you'll get it's like 90% of the trades will be successful. And then you'll get those 2 trades or 1 trade that blows up your entire account.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So
can we jump into
about 10 minutes to go to the top of the hour? Want to take a look at gold? Are you interested in
Yes,
gold?
I've started trading metals.
All right.
I'm starting to do gold.
And how are you doing this? Are you doing it on one of these FX brokers?
Yeah. I'm just testing it out. They're one of the brokers. What's that? What did you say?
It said caveat emptor.
Is that a broker?
That's Latin, and it means buyer beware.
Oh, okay.
I'll go on mute. Tell us what you're seeing out of gold.
Okay, so this is the gold weekly trend. As everybody knows, it had a big rally in the past 2 or 3 weeks. On the weekly, it looks bullish to me. I don't really see any big bearish signals other than this bearish candle that was formed that closed last week. You know, we've got a shooting star here, and now we've got a doji forming. We'll see. I think it closes tomorrow, right, Brian? Does the gold candle close tomorrow? Because gold.
Your microphone's back to being funny games. This is gold trades Monday to Friday. So in essence, these gold futures will be closed on the weekend. I'm not quite sure. I don't think your FX brokerage would trade on the weekends. So is that the question you're asking? Does that contract trade on your Forex platform on the weekends? I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
24/5. Actually, technically, Reza, there's actually supposed to be a half an hour break in the Globex session, just just so you know, for the record. And that's where they screw all the the quote unquote day traders who have the reduced margins. Nebraska would run around just freaking out, close your positions, because if you have that position open in that little window there, that official break time, they like increase the margin rates on you by like 300%. So he would freak out. So I learned that the hard way one day, that there is an official break. It's not 24/5. It's like 23.5/5, just to screw over the day traders. Okay, so I have on my screen algo signals. I look at the gold and I'm worried that this is forming a big M top here. And of course, like we said, we might have a situation. I get the feeling that this jobs report tomorrow is going to be fairly strong, and the Fed's going to be like, well, we can't cut rates. That's my guess. And everybody that's on the call, note that down, and let's see what happens tomorrow. But if that job reports come in fairly strong, I actually think it opens the door for a big smiley face here on the gold. And gold's come a ways, right? There is the bottom down there at 12.5. So if the smiley face does come in, this could be trouble. Actually, it's interesting looking at your screen there, Julian, your RSI study. Would you not do the RSI trend line off of that recent W that just came in? And so that, off of that W, and doesn't that imply that trend line's been broken? Maybe you can try your microphone now. Let's see whether maybe it works.
Hello?
Yep, you're back.
I went to a 4-hour chart. I think we can get a better picture.
Yeah, it just looked to me like that was.
Yeah, it broke it here and then it reclaimed it. It regained it. If you draw it, basically, like.
Yeah, we'd have to get a break below that 1380 area or so for that big M to confirm. So you can't assume that that's going to happen, but. I'm just curious how the market rallied right up against those highs, right into those candle body peaks, and then just rolled over. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, trust me, for my first week in gold, it's been very confusing to trade. It's not been easy at all.
This is also an interesting transition window too, right? Coming out of that sell in May and walk away. June's usually soft for the market. We actually had kind of a funny little artificial bounce here and everything. Through June, which I think caught a lot of people off guard. And remember, gold and silver usually like to bottom like June, July. So I can understand a lot of market participants are sitting scratching their head right now too. So it would make sense that you're kind of like, I don't know, man, this is awfully wishy-washy. Whatever it's worth, algo signal wise, I don't have anything working right now, so it's just a big hurry up and do nothing for me here.
Yeah, I don't have. I wanna try to drill down to a lower time frame. Why does this look like this? Did I draw that? Okay, there we go.
All right. Well, we're coming up into the top of the hour. Is any further?
Well, let me
thoughts
just.
on-
I want to drill down to the hourly on gold really quick.
Okay.
So,
we will let
but-
Julian do his thing. I'll go on mute. Tell us what's on your mind.
Okay. So 1 hour chart, you can see if I drew an RSI here, breakdown, if I do this, RSI trend line, we got breakdown here, which didn't really help you because if you would have, you're trading off RSI, you would have went something like this probably, and then gotten in, well, you would have gotten into the trade here, wrote it up, and then gotten out here. So that's not bad. And then if we draw this trend line like this, we have this one, then we also have this one. And you can see it's kind of broken out of that downtrend. So on the hourly, I like what I see. On the daily, we go back to the daily. We're still above the VIP line, even though it's putting in a divergence. And I don't like that we've got these two shooting star candles. That's really bad to have something like that. But it's bullish on the daily. And we've got a breakout on the 1 hour. For me, it's not super clear signals, but if I was trading gold, I think I would try to get a long off these lows, like 14, 13, and then set a stop below the 50% level of this range. Maybe because you can see how, let me see if I can. You can see how they ran the stops right here, just really quick. They ran the stops down, and then they shot back up higher. So I would always set it a little bit below, not at your fib level, because you're gonna get run over. So I think it could do anything here. I mean, we had the breakdown on the 4 hour and the daily for the uptrend, but it's still above the VIP line, which is probably maybe why it's sitting here. Well, I have to see what happens with this 1 hour. Maybe if we can get something a little bit more bullish and break above this 0.618 level, that would be very bullish. Otherwise, I think we're stuck kind of in a range between 50% and 0.618. So 1417 to 1410, so like a $7 trading range, which on gold I'm finding out is actually pretty significant, because a lot of people trade with like 20 times leverage, 50 times leverage, 100 times leverage. And you can get significant amount. You can lose or make significant amounts of money with very small moves. So that's gold. We'll see what happens.
And then there's
I'm leaning
trading RZA style 400x.
Oh my god, that's insane. I'm doing 50x right now. That's enough for me. So we'll see what happens. I don't know which way it's gonna go. I mean, you can even see if I drew like a little trend here. If I went to like the 15-minute, it would be breaking down here. It's really hard to trade. It's my first week kind of experimenting with it. I might even stop trading it next week because it's just confusing. But I think it's in my best interest to keep paper trading it for about a month just to see how it works with my trading style. But so far, I've had trouble kind of navigating it, and I keep finding I'm drilling down to lower and lower time frames. Like I just talked about the 15-minute. I shouldn't even be talking about or thinking about that, but I am, because I'm like, well, I'm not getting any signals. I got to keep looking lower. And when you're not getting any signals, you shouldn't keep looking lower. You should just stop and wait until a signal comes to you. So a little, just again, another little bit of lesson, a little lesson from me about mistakes that I'm making and things I'm still learning that I have to keep reminding myself because of mostly because of impatience. I'm like, oh, I want to do this now, and then I just I make mistakes.
Trade your setup.
Luckily, right now it's paper. If it wasn't paper, I think I'd be down like over $1,000.
All right.
Okay, so that's gold, and then I always do the TIE bot, so we'll just do the TIE bot quickly. We've got the weekly time frame here. So we had this downtrend before that we broke out of, and we moved higher. That was really short-lived because then we had this move, and I think this is primarily driven by the weakness in the US dollar. think the US dollar has quite a bit of weakness right now, but it looks like we're putting in a divergence on the histogram, at least, not on the RSI. You know, I've been seeing this a lot lately. It's kind of confusing to me where I get divergence on the histogram, but not divergence on the RSI. So that's why I have both on the chart, because I don't like when I get conflicting signals. I want to see them line up with each other, because if I can get signals that line up, those are generally powerful signals. But if I've got conflicting signals, then I don't know. I'm not always 100% sure what's going to happen. Usually I err on the histogram side, or I do nothing. Better to do nothing usually. So that's the weekly. Let's go to the daily really, really quick. Again, breakdown here like this one. I might want to, if I want to do more like a little bit like that, but I'd probably do this one like this. But we've got a bit of a W coming in here, and we've got divergence on the histogram. So at least for me, it's nice to see. I want the Thai baht to go down versus the US dollar, because then I can buy more things in Thailand for a cheaper price. But right now, we're at the, I think we're at the lowest we've been. How long? The lowest we've been since July 2013. So just my luck that I came here this year, right when we've gone to the lowest since July 2013. Hopefully it doesn't drop any lower for my sake. Not that it would be the end of the world or anything. It's just, you know, who wants to pay more for things if they don't have to? So that's the Thai baht. You know what, let me look at the US dollar really quick. You know, I'm sure, Brian, you've talked about it on a couple shows. You can see we had this weekly, just boom, and then see how it kind of, after it broke down from here, it rallied a little bit, but see how it's kind of just stopped. You see we had a TD Mark 9 stopped here too.
A nasty divergence.
Yeah.
That's a double divergence. In fact, I might even be. So here's a good trade setup. You got your MACD divs, you got your RSI divs, you got your RSI trendline breakdown, you got new validated RSI downtrend working, and you got 9 on your TD DeMark indicator. So I can start seeing a bunch of reasons to take trades.
So should I sell all of my US dollars?
Well, you know, like we kind of talked about this, you know, earlier. I think obviously the market's setting itself up for some sort of event tomorrow. If the jobs report comes in very strong, then I think probably US dollar rallies, gold and all that kind of stuff comes off as the Fed, you know, is perceived that they're going to have to keep rates up. If the jobs report comes in really weak, then I think gold probably does okay. Bitcoin jumps, US dollar tanks, you know, yen goes up, all that kind of stuff. So really, if anything, it makes a lot of sense. We're in the first 2 weeks of the quarter. We should be cooling our jets anyways and just sort of seeing where the market, you know, sort of settles out. We have a whole bunch of FA events here through this week, and also too, today's a holiday. So I mean, put it all together, you know, your comments about gold, and this kind of sucks because, you know, you might be like sort of judging your performance of trading this, you know, this market based on a very wonky period in the market where my hunch actually is a lot of pros are in the Hamptons right now, and they're not even looking at the market. It's just us addicts that are constantly at the screen 24/7 who are actually watching price action right now. So you know, let's see how tomorrow's report develops. We might see some pretty wild surprises, but on balance, and you know, we've been talking about the Canadian dollar. We moved some money out of the US to the Canadian dollar, and the Canadian dollar's jumped up quite a bit here recently. So, you know, I could see some back and forth. Our job, of course, is never to chase. You're asking me to put my neck in the noose. My neck in the noose, I would be looking for a counter trend rally back up to test those highs one more time. And, you know, maybe horizontal support and resistance against those highs from back in, like, I guess, late 2018. And on balance, if the U.S. economy is still outperforming, then I would expect the U.S. dollar to be stronger, not weaker. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. I didn't even answer your question. I totally dodged it. I just gonna say no comment.
No comment. No comment. For me,
okay, we're well past the top of the hour. I do have daily summary videos to do as well. So I think we're going to have to wind it up there. Thank you very much for the baby powder report. Excellent job. And it's nice to see.
Sorry for the technical issues again, guys.
Yeah, well, you're getting a rhythm, though. I like how this is getting more and more comfortable for you, and you can sort of ride with the curved balls of internet. So good job. You know, let's keep vetting your setup. I want to see step 1, look for this. Step 2, look for this. Step 3, look for this. All of those come in, pull the trigger. If we could ever get you to that point, my job's done. I can retire.
Okay, I'm never doing that then.
Thanks. All right, why don't we leave it at that? Tony, good timing. You just came in the call just as we're ending. Anyway, we're going to leave it at that for today. Thank you very much, Julian. Excellent baby powder report. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, everybody. It is a holiday session, so understandably things are pretty quiet. I don't see Bitcoin doing a hell of a lot here. We had the potential to pop the tops, and they rolled her over. You know, we were talking last night. This profile just looked like a massive cavern. So they're actually going through the process of filling the profile in now. Could it break out? Sure. Anything can happen in this crazy-ass game. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled. But considering it is the holiday session, and considering this monstrously important report that we have coming out tomorrow, my hunch is we should probably look at any breakouts with a bit of a jaundiced eye. All right, I'll finish it at that. Thank you so much, Julian. Great job as always. All the best, everybody, and bye.
Bye for now.
Ooh, hey,
bye, everybody.
All right, bye.